Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. How are you all doing? It is Tuesday, yet somehow it feels like a Friday for me. And I think it's because all of the sun that we had since Saturday has just gotten me in such a good mood. I hope y'all are feeling the same wherever you are as well. Good morning, Acacia, Caroline, Ronnie, Tadisha, Jessica, Shemjem, Theo, Petty LaBelle, Kristen, Lisa, Jaleesa. So nice to see y'all here. Allie's here as well. Good morning, Allie. Jess, how was your weekend with your grandbabies? Did you have a good time? We missed you yesterday. And by the way, shout out to Shem and everybody else who joined me from the morning report yesterday to the Teen Mom recap. That was so much fun recapping the week's episode with y'all. Like, wow, that stream did really, really well, especially for the Playback Posse. So shout out to the Playback Posse as well. Maybe you weren't able to join us live, but y'all really, really ran that back in droves. Oh, sorry. I'm going to continue to recap Teen Mom Next Chapter live just because it does really well with you guys and because I kind of prefer it. Report has gotten me in such like a live on the mic sort of mood. Anyway, you guys, there's not that much to discuss in today's morning report. Sorry to tell you, there are only like 4 stories that I found, which was so weird. I thought it was like an April Fool's prank. By the way, stay woke today, you guys. It is April Fool's, which means people are going to be trying to pull one over on you. I saw one from like a Beyonce fan page on Instagram saying that the Cowboy Carter concert tour was canceled. I said, absolutely not. Nope, Beyonce would never do this to me. She knows that I got my tickets for the first time ever. She is not canceling a damn thing. Good morning, Live a Little. Good morning, Kahara. Good morning, Cynthia. Hey, Star. Star says she's in a great mood too. So excited about today's topic. Got to log in on this leg day. Love that. Yesterday was my leg day. Today's my upper body day. So looks like we've got an opposite schedule. Hey, Meg. Hey, Venetia, BR, Lucky, Spaz, Joy. Nice to see y'all. So why don't we get started with our first topic? Okay, you guys, we got to get into Raven-Symone. In fact, I'm excited to open up the phone lines for you guys on this one because I thought it was rather interesting. She got dragged the first time she said it, but I've always understood what she meant when she was saying this. So do y'all remember the last time that Raven-Symone went on the record and said that she does not identify as African American? And it was this whole big scandal and whatnot, right? Well, here she is. She's come back. This time she's chatting with Jason Lee. Shout out to the Neighborhood Talk for this video. And she is standing 10 toes down. Do not know what is going on with my mic. So sorry, you guys. She's standing 10 toes down in her opinion. So take a look, take a listen, and then we'll talk about it on the flip side. Okay, you guys?
I have to eat my own words and apologize.
Oh, what'd you say about me?
That interview you did with Oprah, where she asked you if you were, African American or whatever. And
you got mad at me?
Listen.
I am not an African American. I'm an American. I am a Black American. I am definitely Black. And yes, my ancestors come from Africa. How long does a bloodline have to live in one land before they are considered a pure species of that land? Mm-hmm. Meaning, how long did my people have to be in America to say, hey, no, we're American, compared to some people who are English American, who are Irish American, who are German American from their ancestors, but they get to call themselves American. There's nothing wrong with being African American, but a true African American is someone that is from Africa and moved here, either first generation or second generation, and has a tie to that country that I do not have. One of the first census in Virginia that allowed for Black people to have a name was somebody from my family. So that means they were there long before. I think there comes a point where when you build a country when you fight for freedom, make money and pay taxes, and generationally live in a country. You have the privilege to call yourself pure American.
What do y'all think? Personally, I always understood where she was coming from. And to me, it makes sense. I don't understand why every American needs to be othered as Asian American or African American or Indian American or whatever American, except white Americans, and why is that? White Americans are immigrants to America as well, right? And in the case of I don't want to say African American anymore because now we're moving away from that. But in the case of Black Americans, they weren't immigrants towards America, right? So why is that? When can they just say that they are American? And again, I'm not American, so I don't want to overly speak for you guys in that regard, but I get what she's saying and I'm with her, but at the same time, if Black Americans want to identify as African American, I'm fine with that too. But I don't understand why people would jump down her throat for how she chooses to identify. But I digress. Remember, you guys, we're going to be opening up the phone line. So I want to see what you guys have to say about this. I'm really looking forward to it. Lucky says, I always understood what she said. I don't know why people were so upset by it. People don't know how to actively listen. I agree, right? I think that a lot of people just have this like outrage kind of like addiction. Like it really gets a lot of views. It gets a lot of attention. And it becomes a literal addiction to have your cortisol spiking all the damn time. And I think at this point, like you say, Lucky, people need to practice actively listening. People need to listen in good faith, engage in good faith conversations and this is something we were talking about in yesterday's Teen Mom recap when it came to Caitlyn and Tyler. Do they kind of like put their foot in their mouth sometimes when they're talking about the adoption situation? Yes. But when you listen to them in good faith, knowing that, they are good people and they're not trying to harm anybody with what they're saying, you can kind of like see where they've misstepped in what they're saying and kind of, just put together the bigger picture, just like with Raven. I think that she is a good person and she's not someone who has any hatred towards, the people in Africa or anything like that, or, her race, her ethnicity, or whatever, right? Joy says, I agree with her 100%, right? East, awesome. Nice to see you. East says most African Americans are 5 to 30% Caucasian. Laughing my A off. She needs non-homeschool education. She needs to take regular college classes. Damn. Trent says, yes, the country of Africa, right? That's another thing. When are we going to get over calling Africa a country? I feel like people always do that for Africa and Europe. People are always like, oh, I was in Europe or I was in Africa. Where were you? These places are large. They contain many different countries. Like, be specific. Caroline agrees. Caroline thinks she spoke facts. Star says, I love Raven's shortcut, and I agree with Raven. There are African Americans who are second generation and called Black. What about the people with American slave ancestry, right? They've been there for so long that I think that they have earned the right to just be called American. And if, they're going to be called African American, everyone's going to be, why aren't we calling people? And I know the Italian American community likes to hang on to their Italian ancestry, but what about English Americans? What about, Scottish Americans, Irish, these sorts of things, right? So it looks like a lot of you guys, Kahara as well, it looks like a lot of you guys agree with Raven on this. So I do think that she was ahead of her time when she was saying this. I think she was saying this back in 2017, and maybe we weren't ready for that conversation. But I think now we're at the place where it's like, you know what? Hell yeah. Like, I get what she's saying. Why must we be othered in a country that we built forcibly? And we still haven't been given what we're owed for building it, right? Spa says Raven is correct. I'm glad she got the chance to elaborate after so long of her point being purposefully misunderstood. Period. East Awesome says white Americans will tell you they are German and French too. That's true. Raven is misguided. I work for the census. This is foolery. East Awesome is not here for it at all. But you know what? With you working with the census and stuff, I get it too. But I feel like on a whole, whenever people are being spoken about, like if they're giving a description, people of color are typically othered in America, from what I see anyway, right? Joyce says you mean European Americans, right? Right. Brittany, good morning, Brittany. Nice to see you. Trent says, I never referred to myself as African American since I was 8, long before Raven. So listen, I'm happy that this is a conversation that is being opened up a little bit more, because I get what she's saying and I'm rooting for her, and I'm rooting for those of you who feel the same way about yourselves and your own identities as well. Shem says it's misogyny. I never had a problem with it. Leave her alone. She's not the only one who thinks that way. A lot of Black Americans think that way. And I've been seeing more and more come out with this position. And, you know, I support it. I support people who want to be called Black Americans. I support people who want to be called African Americans. Whatever it is that you want to be called, we'll call you that. It costs me nothing, right? Julissa says she said it so eloquently. Venetia says she's telling the truth. Ronnie says she explained herself very well. So it looks like, in general, the Grace Report crew is on board with you, Raven. So, you know, I'm happy that you didn't back down. You didn't get bullied out of your position, and you're further explaining what you mean. And, you know, I still think she's ahead of her time. I still think there are going to be people who are hating on her for this. But at the end of the day, all you can do is be authentic to yourself. That's the most important thing. And kudos to her for doing exactly that. Now, speaking of being authentic, Shamea has clocked her frenemy, Porsha Williams. And so she just clapped back at Porsha's shade. What a tongue twister. In the most recent episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all saw the way that Shamea was so excited to show off her new single. It was a very beautiful song. Everybody had their hands in the air for Shamea and her song. And then Porsha was sitting there with a stank look, accusing her of being Drew. Like, Shamea, that's not your voice. Like, that's got to be Drew's. Like, that sounds too professional, right? Why would you say that to your friend? And aren't you beefing with Drew? Very, very weird. Take a look at what Shamea had to say about this. Okay, you guys, she does her own kind of Candy Speak on It style segment, and she had a lot to say. So here it is.
Dinner, and I play my music for everybody.
Okay, here we go. Is this you? No, that's not her. That's Drew.
People are talking over it, not respecting my music.
That's me. I don't know your singing voice. You gotta listen.
That was hurtful.
You know that ain't Shamea voice.
Especially seeing as though Portia's a good friend of mine, and I would have thought she, you know, would have at least let the people hear the song.
Are you on it?
Porsha. And the fact that, you know, it was like a thing, like, oh no, this is Drew's song, stop. Why would I be playing Drew's song when I've been singing since I was able to talk? I don't know. That's crazy. I wouldn't get on this platform and promote somebody else. I mean, I will support other people, but as far as promoting, I'm promoting my own damn music. This is what I do.
Why do I feel like it's a diss track?
I talked to her about it, and I'm gonna have to just, yeah, you'll see how that all unfolds. But I hope you like Never Had.
So there you go. It looks as though Shamea is going to be confronting Porsha as the season progresses about her comments, you know, and her shadiness and sort of her being a little bit of a fake friend towards her. Although Theo thinks that Porsha was just trying to be funny, but it fell flat. That very well could have been the case. I think what is going to be telling about it is how Porsha reacts when Shamea confronts her about it later on in the season. And I am looking forward to it. However, I don't know that it's going to end well, because we already know that the two of them are on the outs, and they have been on the outs since filming for this season. And so there have just been these little breadcrumbs being scattered around to let us know that this relationship is just not in the best place. And it's unfortunate for Shamea, because I do think that she was a true ride or die friend to Porsha. And I think that Porsha is going to see, like, down the line, when it's too late, how badly she fumbled the best friend she ever had, right? By the way, you guys, I did drop a call-in link. Like I said earlier, there aren't too many stories today, and it's so odd. I don't know why. So if you guys want to chime in or anything like that, definitely feel free to. I'm dropping it earlier than usual, just because I think I only have one more story after this one. Lou says, I didn't even know about Flatline until this season. Porsha needs to sit quiet with that flat boy. Exactly. You know, I think she's just jealous, because when she tried making music, it sucked. It did not pop off because the music just was not good. Porsha is not a singer, and that is okay, right? But Shamea, on the other hand, that was a song that I could picture, like, being, like, you know, on the soundtrack of, like, a television show or a movie or something like that. Is it a song that I would necessarily download? I don't know. Maybe if it were on a playlist that I was already listening to, I would keep it. I wouldn't skip it, sort of a thing. Hey, J.I. says $9 million house, got a speaker so people could hear the song. Team Porsha. No, but she wasn't showing it off in the house. Do you remember in the most recent episode, they were at a restaurant called The Bank. And so that's why she had to play it off on her phone. Take that back. You're Team Shamea now. Tanisha says some people were mad at me on Twitter because I said that Shamea is Porsha's friend, but Porsha wasn't hers. Right. And, I feel like a lot of people who defend Porsha, no offense to the Porsha lovers, cough, cough, J.I., but just based off of how trifling she is, it makes me look at you guys a little bit funny because I'm thinking, do y'all think the way that this woman moves is acceptable? All those married men that she's boning for trinkets and whatnot, allegedly, the way that she treats her best friend and does these things behind people's backs. The way that she just beats people down all the time, like literally physically, chases people in alleyways and whatnot to beat them and never takes accountability. I'm like, y'all, are you okay? What do y'all get up to in your spare time? Because to me, the way that she is and behaves and just like her mentality is a little atrocious. I'm not even gonna lie. It's very atrocious to me. Hey, Jasmine, nice to see you. Good morning, sunshine. East Awesome is sharing some more thoughts about the Raven story that we did a little bit earlier. Don't forget, East Awesome, Star, anybody else who wants to chime in on that. I'm going to drop the link again in case you guys want to call in and share your thoughts, because I know it can be really difficult to get the nuance of your point across via writing down. So definitely feel free to call on in and share some more of your opinions. Jasmine says, Shamea deserves a better friend than Porsha. I agree. She seems like such a lovely girl, and she really seems like a true friend as well. So I've been very sad for her over the years, watching the way that Porsha treats her versus the way that she treats Porsha. Although J.I. is not with it. He says, y'all will turn on Shamea next season. Mark my words. You know what? I'll give it to you, J.I., because here's the thing. I like Shamea so far. However, I will admit that she's not my favorite. I think that she could be a little bit annoying. I can, and I think that she could be a little bit desperate as well, in terms of like desperate for attention and a bit of a tryhard. So when I stick up for her, it's not in the sense that she's my fave, like I want her to replace this person or that person. It's just, in terms of friendships and how I operate in friendships and how I would like for my friendships to be and my friends to be towards me, it's just not cool. That's all I'm going to say. But you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe Shamea is going to show an ugly side to herself moving forward. And when we did our recap of the most recent episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, we did talk about something that she did, which was the nose comments. She kept on making these nose comments to, what is the name? Angela Oakley. And then she extended an olive branch and apologized. Then she did a confessional about extending the olive branch. And in that confessional, she dissed her again. I said, Shamea, that's not nice. You just said it's not like you to come after people's physical appearances. Why do you keep doing this? Like, we get it already, right? What's done is done. Maybe she can get, it reconstructed via Dwight's surgeon, because Dwight did a good job. His first one was a little bit dreadful too, but he did a good job reconstructing it. But maybe Angela doesn't want to go down that route, in which case, whatever, stop reminding her, because at that point, it kind of maybe potentially can cross the threshold from like housewife snarks into full blown bullying, because it's a bit too much. So listen, I see both sides. I do. Like he says, Porsha is a frenemy. End of story. I agree, and it's rather unfortunate. Venetia says, yesterday was Selena, 30 years since she died. It's so sad. She was so talented. Thank you for reminding us, Venetia. We talked about, and it's crazy how quickly, how close this time frame is from the time frame of her shooter being denied parole. Because I remember we talked about her shooter being denied parole in one of last week's episodes of The Morning Report, and thank God she was denied parole. Good morning, Monique. I'm scared of cats, but yours is kind of cute. JS says, Candy had a baby with a married man and had threesomes with her husband. If we could support Candy, we could support Porsha. Oh, listen, damn. On the married man front, I do not support that, right? I don't like that Candy was allegedly a side piece. However, if she wants to have threesomes with her husband, have the threesomes with your husband. So long as you're both consenting to it, all good, right? Lou says, y'all know you wouldn't trust her around her man, but y'all excuse her. Oh, it is getting hot in here. The opinions are flying in both directions, and I love it. Joy says, but that's why I give Shamea a little bit of a side eye. Like I said, birds of a feather. And that's the thing. And she supported Porsha in the way that she moved, right? When Porsha was creeping on Simon, and when Porsha was running around in Nigeria with these decrepit, married men, allegedly, Shamea was her ride or die through that. So it is true that she's not squeaky clean either. If you're friends with someone, especially close friends, best friends with someone like that, yeah, there's something off about you too, for sure. Just as I like Porsha and Shamea, so it's unfortunate they're already bumping heads. Agreed, but I'm not surprised. We called it when we did the Dream Team collaboration on Layla Lynn's YouTube channel. Layla Lynn Campfire and I all got together to talk about it, and we said, mark our words, this friendship is not going to last. It's not. Tanisha says, in my opinion, the only one that's trying too hard is Brit. She did the most regarding the Kenya situation. Agreed. I'm 100% with you on that. And it's sad that Kenya took the bait and got herself fired eventually from the show, because why? All she had to do was, go Karen on these people, not Karen Huger, but Karen. Go speak to the manager. Tell them you do not feel safe with this woman who threatened you twice with a pistol and with whips. What was that word y'all taught me yesterday? Blicky, the blickies. Good morning, Diana. Thank you for joining us for the morning report. Y'all, I'm telling you, for real, today there are not that many stories floating around on the internet, and it is the weirdest thing ever. So we do have one more story to get into, which is about Justin Bieber looking strung out on Instagram Live. And so I'm going to play that video for you guys. A lot of his fans are in an uproar. They're very worried about him. And then after that, since we don't have too many stories, why don't we talk about some other random things that I saw online when I was looking for stories. So did you guys used to watch Malcolm in the Middle? So one of the stars from Malcolm in the Middle, he just got photographed out and about. So they're looking for the stars of the show because they're doing a revival of the series. Unfortunately, Dewey, who is the guy who was photographed recently, he's not going to be participating in the reboot. But they recently caught a photo of him, and he looks exactly as he did, the same as he did on that show, and he's just absolutely adorable. I'm going to share that photo with you guys. Macaulay Culkin was talking about his strained relationship with his father. Apparently, he has not spoken to his father in 30 years, and it's because his father was jealous of him. His father wanted to be this big actor, and Macaulay, he burnt his father. You know what he said? He said that his dad always had resentment against him because everything that his father wanted to do in the span of his life as an actor, Macaulay did by the time he was 10 years old. Oh, damn. It's so sad. All of the 80s, 90s children who were really, really put to work did not have proper laws to protect them, were just exploited to the maximum. And just seeing the way that these, for example, influencer parents and whatnot are with their children, it's like, a lot of people, they've seen the way that these kids turn out, right? Look at Gary Coleman, for example, right? Like unfortunately, this could lead to addiction problems, short lives, etc., mental health problems, and the parents do not care. So long as they have a couch cow, they are happy, and it's very, very sad. Did I say good morning, Diana? Just in case I didn't. Good morning, Diana. Hi, HG. Porsha never wanted Shamea on the show. Exactly. Candy got Shamea on the show, but Shamea is supposed to be Porsha's best friend. Come on now. Fake friend. Sorry, J.I. Fake friend. Porsha brought, no, Candy brought her on the show. No, J.I. take that back. Candy got Shamea on the show. Porsha was hiding her. She was hiding Shamea from the world. Or maybe she was hiding the world from Shamea. Theo says Kenya did speak to HR. Oh, Lord. Didn't she file a lawsuit? Because you know what? Good for her. At this point, if she filed a lawsuit, good for her, because all that footage is out there. And we already saw, and we talked about this in yesterday's morning report, how a production source told People magazine that Kenya was lying about that. And meanwhile, we saw Britney say that twice on camera. Get your coin, Miss Moore, and then you can open back up your salon. SE says, my mom always said, if you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. Yup, your mama is a smart one. She is a wise one, because it is 100% true. Acacia says, when are you going to listen? I have to find where to live first. So of course I have to get out of Paris. So that's something that I'm working on. And then finally find a nice countryside property with the potential to have a beautiful garden. And I love your garden. By the way, you guys, Acacia has a YouTube channel where she shows off her garden, the bouquets that she makes. She just finished floral school. And so I love your garden. And I want to have flowers as well. But my big thing is growing my own fruits, vegetables, herbs, all that stuff. Like I want to, there's so many, like the people on the TikTok and they have their baskets. They'll be like, oh, I want to cook something for dinner. It's time to go harvesting in my garden, like that kind of thing. Can I ask you, Acacia, do you have fruits and vegetables in your garden as well? Because I'm trying to find a good balance. Because of course you do need flowers to help ward off some of the things that'll come and eat your fruits and vegetables as well. So I can't wait to pick your brain about it and to see your channel to get some advice about all of that. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Now, you guys, why don't we get into the Justin Bieber story? Okay, so Justin Bieber, he recently had a son. The birth of his son, Jack, was only a couple of months ago, but it doesn't seem to have helped him grow up in any way, shape, or form. He is just consistently being seen looking as if he has some sort of a problem, as if he is high, as if he is trashed, and it's very concerning. In fact, he went on Instagram just the other day and posted a video that's very concerning to people. People are wondering what is happening with Justin Bieber. Is he okay? I do not think that this is a result of, being a father. He's been like this for the past couple of years. And I guess we all thought that maybe he would get his act together when his son was born, but it's just not looking good. Take a look at this and we'll talk more about it on the flip side. Okay, you guys?
You just a little bitty bitch. You just a little bitty bitch. You just a little bitty bitch for sure. I've been the shit.
So there you go. What do you think? He kind of looked like he was struggling to keep his eyes open a little bit, and like he's like tilting his head and everything, and the eyes are like just like, heavy for him. I don't know what is happening with him, but I'm very concerned for him, and I'm very concerned for Haley. I think he has gone to rehab in the past. And so I hope that if he does have a problem, that the people around him are able to help him accept that he has a problem and push him towards getting help. But it's hard, you guys, and I've spoken about this a couple of times on my channel, having, a friend who had an alcohol problem and stuff, and just how difficult it is to convince these people that they have a serious problem, and so with Justin, combine having a problem potentially with having a lot of money, more money than like all the people around you, right? And the ego and the power that gives you over people. How can they? I'm sure they can bring up his son and say, hey, think of your son. Don't you want to be here for your son? Like, don't you want to be in the best condition for your son? But I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. But I hope he turns it around. It's not looking good, and we've been talking about it with all of the Diddy stories, right? What could have potentially happened to Justin in his childhood when he started making it big in Hollywood, and how even on camera, people were grown people, men and women, were very inappropriate to him. Just imagining what was happening behind the scenes, if that's the way people treated him in front of the cameras, in front of live audiences. It's sad, it's scary, and it's not surprising, right? A lot of these child actors, child stars in general, they go down this route where they're abusing drugs, abusing alcohol, where they've got serious mental health issues as a result of the trauma that they experience from being preyed upon as children. So whether it's actual trauma, whether it's the trauma of being, the breadwinner for your entire family, being exploited that way, being overexposed that way, and just not being able to cope with the level of fame that you had. It's very, very sad. I hope he's okay. Acacia says, yikes, Justin was definitely high. I wonder if all the trauma from the Diddy drama is getting to him. And a lot of people have been wondering that, ever since all the Diddy stuff came out and he got arrested, Justin Bieber's name has almost been completely synonymous with that case, right? Shemjem says, I always feel empathetic towards Justin Bieber after watching him get, yes, that's 100%, after watching him get actually harassed by adults for years. And have any of them ever come forward to apologize? I remember, who's the lady that was married to that guy, Jim Carrey? Was it Jenna? What is her name? Who's that lady? The blonde lady. She was married to Jim Carrey, and she's kind of like weird. And I think she's a Nepo baby. There was her. I remember her inappropriately touching him on screen and saying weird things, and just, we've seen the men being weird towards him. We saw Diddy inviting this child to come over to his house. Why don't you come to my house and party with me? And he's licking his lips, y'all. What? BR says, I wonder if he's feeling stressed about the impending. See, a lot of y'all seem to think it's the Diddy thing, you know, myself included, but Diddy case and the things that may or may not come out about him being a victim potentially. Maybe that's it. Maybe, right? It feels like he has had the weight of the world on his shoulders ever since he was like put here in front of the cameras, because they came with a lot of pressure. And don't forget, he's got daddy issues. His dad was a deadbeat who abandoned the family. And then as soon as Justin starts making some money, all of a sudden, Daddy Dearest wants to be his bestie, right? So I think that maybe there's some trauma from that. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because you guys have children. Some of you guys have children. I do not. I imagine that when you have children, you know, because now you were tasked with protecting and helping this, you know, this little, you know, angel navigate the world. Some things about, you know, what you may have experienced either through your parents or society or, you know, exes or whatever, friendships, blah, blah, might start to bubble to the surface and all kind of be like a bunch of these like demons, so to speak, that you have to face. And it can be hard. It can bring up these, you know, these memories or these thoughts or these emotions that were previously suppressed and you didn't even know you were suppressing them. Could that be it too? Jasmine says, weren't there rumors that they are secretly separated? Yeah, there were. I'm going to drop the call-in link again, just last time, in case you guys want to hop on and share some of your opinions. In fact, thank you for bringing that up, Jazz, because when I was looking for stories today, I did also see something about Hailey temporarily unfollowing him after he posted, after he went on that Instagram live. She's claiming it's a glitch, but every time a celebrity gets caught doing something, it's either a glitch or they were hacked, right? B Chocolate says Justin needs, you know what? Before I get to your comment, B Chocolate, sorry, but when I was talking about it's a glitch or it's hacked, it reminded me of the most hilarious one ever. Two of the most hilarious. One of them is Rita Ora. Remember she said, yeah, she tweeted something. She's like, if this tweet gets like 10,000 likes, I will drop my album. And the tweet got like a couple hundred likes. And then she came back, you know, limping. She's like, no, that wasn't me. I got hacked. Okay, girl. And then do y'all remember Shannon Sharp, that guy with like the leather couches and he does the interviews with like Monique, with Cat Williams, with Amanda Seales? You're right. So he had like some allegations about his sexuality you know, circling around. And so I guess he wanted to show he was straight. So he went on Instagram Live, filmed himself boning this woman. And then after he said he was hacked. So who would hack your phone from remotely, go on Instagram Live, knowing that you're boning this woman and then post it up? Stop it. They're such liars. Blue Chocolate says Justin needs serious help. I've seen clips of him just sobbing and it's heartbreaking. He legit needs time away from public life. I agree. I don't understand why he doesn't take the time away from public life. He hasn't been releasing music in a very, very long time. So it feels like he has that capacity to go away, right? So what is he doing? And I know that right now, oh, I see we got Star in the building. Hey, Star, let me bring up Star. I see that now Hailey has her brand, but I think even that, she's not super duper public. She's not glued to LA for the brand. I think there's something they could do. Let's see what Star has to say. Hey, Star, how are you?
Hi. First of all, I want to say hi, beautiful Grace. And I was literally in the gym and I took a pause to come on.
You're the best, Star. So nice to see you. You look like a celebrity, and I'm trying to figure out who, you know who I think you remind me of? Simone Biles, I think. You look like a lighter skinned Simone Biles. That in my life.
I got Queen Latifah, but I think I just have like a general black face. Like I just look like people walk up to me and they're like, cousin. And I'm not their cousin.
Oh my God, that is so sweet. You have such like an approachable aura and face. I love it. So beautiful. So what did you think? What were you saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. So I just wanted to say, am I still on camera?
No, it's black now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have to look at my notes.
No worries.
But I wanted to say, first of all, about Justin Bieber. I just finished reading Matthew Perry's book, Friends, Lovers, and the Great Terrible Thing.
Ooh,
and it talks a lot about his addiction right before he passed. And I think when all is going well, it's easier to stop. But when anything goes wrong or anything reminds you of a past trauma, that usually causes a relapse. And when you have an addiction, you just have to replace that with something else, and hopefully something healthy. Like some people replace it with food or the gym or whatever but you have to like become extreme about something else. And that's constant work. And for some people, it's a day by day battle. And sometimes it's a minute by minute battle. So I do give Justin a lot of grace. And I do recommend Matthew Perry's book if you have any family members who suffer from addiction, or if you do, just to understand them better.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing. And you know, when you said Matthew, for some reason, I was picturing Matthew McConaughey. And when you said he passed away, I was like, what? Oh my God. But
no, Matthew Perry, he played Chandler in Friends.
Wow. And that makes so much sense, because I know someone who was an addict, but it was to cigarettes, right? Someone here in Paris, he was addicted to cigarettes. And then he replaced that. Like you said, you have to have a different addiction sometimes. And so for him, it was running. So now he runs like 10 kilometers a day just to always have something else and just get rid of that like monkey on his shoulder or whatever. Yes.
Exactly. So I'm addicted to food. We're working on replacing that with the gym.
Oh, good for
but
you.
Yeah, it is a lifelong battle, like Tia said. But then the other topic I wanted to talk about is Raven's comment. So East Austin and I was having a little back and forth in the chat, and I just want to say to him or her, I don't know, I do agree with you that it's definitely a time to be united, but I don't think embracing differences should cause dissension. It does, because we're all imperfect and we live in that type of society. But I will say that growing up around a lot of Africans, so I'm from Philly. Yeah. And I grew up in this area called like Little Africa. If you know about Philly, it's in Southwest Philadelphia, and there's a lot of Africans. We have all the African flags going down a block. And there is just a difference between us. In school, there's a difference between us. You can just see the difference. There's a different culture. They learn differently. They're usually like the smarter ones. Foreigners always are the smarter ones. But anyways, it's just that we have to identify as the same. We're both Black. We're both African American. And it's like, we're not. And not only that, I don't think they even wanted that. I think they wanted to be viewed as differently. And if I didn't do my DNA test, I wouldn't know where in Africa I'm from. But even if I do, once I go to that place, which is Cameroon, I'm mostly Cameroonian. So if I go to Cameroon, nobody's going to be like, oh yeah. No, nobody knows me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just want to say that I do think we should all be united, but I think embracing our differences shouldn't be that. I don't think Raven is saying she's not American. I mean, I'm sorry, she's not African. She's just saying, my ancestors built this country. Yeah. More than your ancestors built this country. We were slaves here. There's a difference between us. We have a different mentality. We inherited different things in our DNA. Emotional trauma is passed down through DNA. So I feel like that is just what Raven is saying. Like, there is a difference, and she just wants to be identified as the American that she is. And I agree with her. That just saying that I'm not also African. I am. I just don't identify with that place as much as I identify here. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Star. I hope you had a great gym session. Nice to talk to you.
I'm going back to the gym, so I'll see y'all later.
Love it. Thanks, Star. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. See, I agree that, you know, if you like Star, like Raven are saying, like Black Americans built America with their bare hands. So when do they get the right to finally say that they're just American, period? You know, so I'm 100% in agreement with that, for sure. And, you know, when it comes to, you know, Star saying that she's finding out that she has Cameroonian ancestry, and if she were in Cameroon, people wouldn't claim her necessarily. But that's the thing, even for people like myself. So I'm born in Kenya, and I was raised in Kenya for about 4 or 5 years before going to Canada, right? So even myself, when I went back with my family, they don't claim my ass, you know, I'm too different as well. So, and I feel like it's similar to like Italian Americans and whatnot, especially them, because they're more removed than I am, right? Like for them, it's typically like a grandparent or a great grandparent who was born in Italy, which, by the way, I don't know if I've got Italian Americans here, like who are watching me live or who are part of my playback posse, but they are now, and this is why it's always so important. I'm always urging my friends here in France as well to get citizenship as soon as you are eligible for it, because you never know when they are going to change the requirements, right? Especially in this world where we're becoming more and more just divided, right? Before in Italy, if you had an ancestor, so a great grandparent, great grandparent, great grandparent who's Italian, you can just go ahead, apply for citizenship, and be granted it eventually. However, now they've just passed a new law to say that that's no longer the case. You have to have either a parent who is born in Italy or a grandparent, nothing but beyond that. Right. And so, of course, Italians are rejoicing because they're like, well, how is it that there are people here who are born in Italy to non-Italian parents? They're raised here for 18 years. They speak the language. They are Italian. They've been embraced here. Right. They've been born in the culture and they can't get it until they're 18 or whatever. But other people who've never even stepped foot here, don't even know the language, only have like a distant connection. They are able to. It's a big thing. Oh my God, Star, you see, everybody is claiming you, right? Oh my God, you just have such like a warm like face and energy and stuff. So yes, and I'm happy that you and East awesome. See, that's the thing. That's why I love having you guys call in, because sometimes it's just so much to just type in chat. Sometimes like, you need to like say what you're speaking about so people could like better understand and to get like, that kind of nuance. Because sometimes, when you're writing in chat or just in general, even texting your friends or family, sometimes things sound harsh. Like, and I think we ladies are the most guilty of it, of just like adding so many exclamation marks or smiley faces just to be like, okay, listen, just so you know, we're cool. I just have a different viewpoint or whatever. So it's nice that you were able to hop on and share your point of view, right? You look like a lighter skinned Simone Biles. Mike, the Situation did that. Did he replace his drugs with food? Yeah, and he gained quite a bit of weight, but I think he's still in the gym and whatnot. And so I think that that's something that like really helps him maintain some sort of a balance in his life, right? So that's great. East Awesome is a man, and I love Star. Good. We love Star. Jasmine says, that's why I don't believe in the whole Cali sober. Exactly. Cali sober, isn't it typically replacing things with like weed, which is another kind of a drug? And I know a lot of people love weed, but I just do not get the hype. I don't. To me, whatever it's indica sativa, I feel like this, like I've got like 1,000 pounds sitting on my head, miserable, heavy, like sloth, like I don't get the hype. Lou says, my husband is Ghanaian and I don't think there should be a difference in term, but at the end, yeah. And that's the thing, right? A lot of times when people talk about African-American, right? Like leave it to people who are just coming from Africa. People who are just coming from Africa, they don't identify necessarily this way, right? A Ghanaian person would like to be called Ghanaian American, Nigerian American. You see Dr. Wendy Osafo on RHOP. She's always letting it be known, making it clear she is Nigerian American, right? Myself, again, I'm Kenyan, but and you know what is funny, because in Canada it's different, right? For me, I just say I'm Canadian. That's it. I've never really described myself as anything because for us it's not all that common. However, if I were to other myself, I think I would just say I'm Afro-Canadian then, which is the term that we more so use. Very interesting stuff. But I think if I were in the US, just based off the system and the way things sort of seem to work for you guys on that end, I would be Kenyan American, right? It all really just depends. And, that's why I hate when people get good morning, crazy Dalmatian lady. Nice to see you. So that's why I don't like the way that people kind of get on people's necks about the way that they identify around the world. Every single country, culture has a different way of identifying racially, ethnically, just it's different, and one way is not better than the other. And it's not okay to judge, in my opinion. Chocolate Drop says, oh no, I thought I was early and I'm late. No, sorry, Chocolate Drop. But you know what? It's nice to have you nonetheless. We didn't have as many stories as usual today, so we really got to dive in deep on the stories that we did have. Bunny says, I work as a U.S. election poll worker, and I often wear red, white, and blue patriotic clothing. That pisses some whites off. They don't believe American patriotism is appropriate for me. Ooh. See, like there's just something like underlying about this sort of thing where, they try to other people of color, right? So that you do not feel like you can wear these things. And that's why, and this was like a big thing that people were talking about the American flags, right? People were talking about, well, anybody who likes the flag too much, when they're wearing American flag apparel, when they've got all the flags around their house, on their car and stuff, people like to say that like that to them is a little bit, not intimidating, but like off-putting. It makes them a little bit on guard against these people because unfortunately, it is kind of sometimes seen as a dog whistle of, hey, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly, y'all know. Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it. Star says, Jaleesa and I need to have a book club. We have a similar reading taste. Ooh, I would love that. Acacia is in as well. Y'all hook it up. Love it. Empress says, in defense of Raven, we Black people here in America are indigenous to this land. America, we're not Africans. We have no connection to Africa or Africans. The DNA test, though, typically trace African American or Black American ancestry to Africa, though, right? Like, for example, Star was saying her DNA test linked her to Cameroon. And typically you're seeing Nigeria, you're seeing Ghana as well. A lot of times it comes from Western Africa. But maybe there's something else that I don't know. Jaleesa says, Grace, do you still work in tech? I think that's what, yes, I used to work in tech, but I do not anymore. It was a nightmare, honestly, you guys. The pay is good, but being a woman, especially a young woman in tech, oh Lord, the stories I could tell, in my channel membership, I think I used to make some videos about like the harassment I went through. Creepy old coworkers. Oh, just the sexual harassment you go through, because there's not many women working in tech, especially young women. And it was terrible. Lou says, just like people get on Tyler. Exactly. Right. And it's just so weird to me because a lot of people see Tyler as anti-Black because in South Africa, they view race differently. In South Africa, she is considered colored, and colored is considered a derogatory, outdated term in America. But that's the thing. That's the way it is over there. But in South Africa, it is what she is. And that translates, like sometimes when we speak different languages, we have to translate things when we're speaking to people in another language. Colored, the concept of it in South Africa translates to what Black translates to in America, which is different from in Canada or in France or in Brazil, right? And so I don't get it. There's been this weird hate campaign against her just because she is colored in South Africa, and I do not understand it. A lot of people have been saying she's anti-Black because of this, and I don't know. I think sometimes you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if she just sat there and said she was Black, people would be pulling out pictures of her parents like they do with Cardi B, right? And saying that she's a liar. I don't get it, and I don't like it. Thanks for bringing that up, Luce. I completely even forgot about it. Bunny says, Mega has claimed America patriotism as a symbol. Yeah, exactly. As a symbol of being white. And it's very unfortunate for people of color who also take pride in the flag and also want to fly the flag, right? Theo says, I was thinking that as well, Grace, right? Maybe I could be wrong, but that's just what I've seen around. Orange says, girl, you're early. I absolutely loved meeting you in Manhattan. It was such a pleasure. In Manhattan? We met in Manhattan, Orange Sorbet? Really? Because I don't think I've been to Manhattan since I started YouTubing. Did we meet in London? Because I was meeting people in London and like Ottawa and Vegas. Wow. Hey, Orange, nice to see you. And orange is your color indeed, Orange Sorbet. Ali says, working in tech is rough these days, but I'm glad I work hybrid. Yes, working from home saved me. I could not stand it. I really couldn't. Bunny says, I worked as a consultant at IBM. I hated men who claimed your ideas. Oh, yes, that would happen to me too. And sometimes it's just like a joke thing. I remember one of my colleagues, he was like signing out because he was resigning from the job. And so I was like, oh, you should, because he was featured on a poster. Like, for example, you see this like thing here. He was featured on a poster at the workplace, right? And so he wanted something funny. And so he was running it by me. And so I was really into The Simpsons at the time. And I said, oh, you know what you should do? Like, hey guys, this is blank. So for example, this is Matt. You might remember me from such places as this poster, right? It's like a thing from The Simpsons. And so he used it. He was like, oh, that's great. Thank you. And then he used it like it was his own and everybody loved it. I said, oh, you're lucky you're going. I would be fighting you if not. But Julie says, my little sister will be working in tech. She graduates in May. If you don't mind me asking, what do you do for work now? My friend wants to move to Paris and doesn't know what to do about work. So these days I do YouTube and I also sell digital products as well. It's very interesting, but y'all know I love Pilates, for example, right? So I sell a lot of like Pilates workout templates and things like that online as well. So I'm all about like being online, entrepreneurship and stuff. I used to sell a lot of merch for like the reality shows as well. But then logistics wise, it was just a nightmare. I wanted something that was a lot more easygoing, hands off. And so I switched to digital products. And so I do that these days. Empress says DNA and genealogy are two different things. That is correct. Ramster, hey Ramster, nice to see you. So sorry, you guys. I think it's the time change that has had us all messed up. This is the first week. So since yesterday is the first time that we're back to 10 a.m. Eastern. Now that I am back in the 6-hour time gap with you guys on Eastern. Ramster says, oh, sorry, I'm late. Tuesdays and Fridays are my greenhouse days. Also, you're a gardener too. How beautiful is that? Akeisha. Ramster also has a garden. Tyler's an immigrant, Indian immigrant in SA. She's not or what. I thought it was mixed. I know that one of her parents is Indian, and then the other one is like mixed, right? But I thought she had just this whole complicated race around her. DM says, I'm American and I like Tyler. The hate around her is weird. It's forced. It's forced. It's so odd. I don't get it. You know, she seems to be a nice girl. She's a very, very positive girl as well. And so I just want for her to be given the opportunity to prosper because she's never said anything negative against anybody. She's never tried to hurt anybody. So I just do not get like the weird hate campaign against her, right? Thank you, Acacia. Orange Sorbet says, wait, lol, I might be confused. Don't you know Kempire? Wait, well, I was planning on seeing in your beautiful spirit. I know Kempire, and then I met people with him in London. That's why I was asking. I'm like, did we meet in London? Because I haven't been to New York in a very long time. And listen, now that your president is waging war with my people in Canada, I'm kind of boycotting it. And I don't think I'm going to be going back to the U.S. for a long time. I'm sorry. And yes, Kels, it is absolutely amazing. Oh, that crazy Dalmatian lady is a gardener, literally transplanting trees as we speak. I love that. I love how you guys are so into nature and whatnot. Yes, guys, I would love a little gardening community with y'all one day. When I get my garden set up, don't you worry. I want to have like some videos about that. I'm so excited. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of The Morning Report. Per usual, I had the greatest time chatting with you, and I'm really looking forward to our next episode tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoy this episode, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so that YouTube knows you enjoy my content and it continues to push it out there for yourself and other people with similar interests to you. Take good care, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.